Aquaba, welcome back. In Bermuda, the gumbe tradition contains a long history of resistance and is fraught with the same negative commonalities. Like the Junkanoo tradition, gumbes were once banned by the colonial authorities. In 1831, an advertisement in the Royal Gazette sought reward for the capture and return of 2 enslaved Africans who escaped enslavement via, and I quote, the idolatrous procession of the gumbe. It is hoped that this late nuisance, the gumbe, and other clamorous puppet shows of the Negroes will meet the attention of all men of reflection, that they be suppressed, as none but the worst or most ignorant of Negroes follow such ridiculous shows. End quote. Research and education on the cultural tradition of the gumbes assisted in reframing their status. In particular, the Smithsonian Institution initiated a survey of folk life fieldwork in Bermuda from April 2000 to March 2001, resulting in the Folk Life Festival in Washington, D.C., and its recreation in Bermuda. The Bermuda Connections Cultural Resource Guide, as well as the creation of a Bermuda Folk Life Officer position, were powerful results of the festival. Full disclosure, I was privileged to work on the resource guide as the interim Social Studies Education Officer in 2001. Speaking of folk life and preserving one's cultural heritage, I am reminded of Zora Neale Hurston, an anthropologist, folklorist, and best-selling Harlem Renaissance novelist. Zora studied and documented the folkways of Southern Black people. One of her insights can still be witnessed in contemporary times. She wrote, and I quote, "The will to adorn is the second most notable characteristic in Negro expression. Perhaps his ideas of ornament does not attempt to meet the conventional standards, but it satisfies the soul of the creator," end quote. Her observation speaks to the inherent substance of an ancient African sensibility and aesthetic. Examples are plentiful, from tattoos and body piercing to street fashion and elaborate haircuts and hairstyles. Certainly, the aesthetics of mass dancers is an iconic example of our expressive nature, beauty in movement, as well as the visual. Everyone may not see the beauty, but it is indeed satisfying to the creator. The idea of defining our own unique cultural aesthetics is still a revolutionary act, going against the grain of European cultural standards that regularly exclude Black people. This is why preserving our unique culture is so important. We must affirm ourselves. But I digress. While the social status of both the gumbes and Bahamian Junkanoo were transformed from a marginalized cultural expression to that of a national treasure, with depictions on postage stamps, in airports, etc., there are still laws in place that prevent gumbes from performing in the streets of the city of Hamilton without a permit. In Jamaica, the Junkanoo tradition has not robustly survived the assault, and cultural advocates are earnestly trying to revive the tradition. In addition to the history of resistance and defiance, connections of this distinctive African expression of culture include sound, sight, and excitement. Visually, the gumbes, Junkanoo, and other masqueraders use a variety of materials in creating colorful costumes: feathers, Conch shells, flowers, sponges, fabric, cardboard, paints, mirrors, buttons, bells, ribbon streamers, and more. Like the Dogon of Mali, there are stilt walkers. Of course, the rhythms of bells, whistles, and drums are mainstays, even as other instruments have been incorporated, especially in the Bahamas, where brass instruments bring musical excitement. Dance, choreographed or spontaneous, is another cultural commonality. In the Bahamas, Mrs. Ferguson Nash has taken the powerful step to create an academic curriculum based on the skills that participating in Junkanoo cultivates and encourages in students. Academic subjects enhanced by knowledge of Junkanoo include history, mathematics, performing and creative arts, design and technology, and the acquirement of organizational skills. There is a special aspect of environmental science as Junkanoo costumes are created from discarded materials. They are recycled into magnificent works of visual and performance art. Like the gumbays, Junkanoo preparation of the costumes, practicing, and instilling the discipline necessary to uphold the tradition is months long. Mrs. Ferguson Nash describes Junkanoo as a national Bahamian compulsion. In characterizing the soul and identity of the people, it is of note that the father of the Bahamas, Sir Lyndon Oscar Pendleton, said, "I am Junkanoo." Incidentally, Sir Pendleton was a law school classmate, close confidant, and lifelong friend of Bermuda's own cultural and political icon, Dame Lois Brown Evans. I am indebted to my Bahamian sister friend, Arlene Ferguson Nash, for the discussions and information we shared, again revealing the important cultural connections we have in common that confirm that we, in the diaspora, are indeed one people, even as we have a variety of colorful variations. The various global mass dancers, whether from ancient Africa or the diaspora, that is, Bermudian gumbays, Bahamian Junkanoo, Kittian masqueraders, Trinidadian Kambale, or straight-up carnival from various places in the Caribbean, it is just one of our many connections to one another, to our long history and our shared culture. Today, you can see Bahamians proudly wearing "I am Junkanoo" t-shirts, but the rallying cry is, "Let's go to Bay," beyond and above yesterday. The rallying cry has a double meaning, as Bay Street is the main thoroughfare in Nassau where large Junkanoo parades are held. But I say, yes, we all need to go to Bay, beyond and above yesterday. In closing, poetically speaking, let's revisit the culture mirror again. If culture is a reflection of one's values and beliefs, a manifestation of standards held dear, who are you? What culture do you embrace unthinkingly, unblinkingly, without conscious thought? Is it the culture of the invader, individualism, materialism, consumerism, and survival of the fittest? Is it violence as entertainment, movies, trash television, video games, or music's misogynist lyrics encased in a syncopated, mesmerizing beat? Is it talking heads on screen or radio, spewing hatred, division, conspiracies, and confusion? Or is it general doom and gloom, a visionless existence with complaints galore, the bottomless glass, never full. If culture is a byproduct of our historical experiences, how do we safeguard the legacy? How do we teach our children to revere cultural touchstones, holidays, and ritual practices that embody our values and spirit of resistance? How do we push back on stigma that would have us discard our own history, culture, struggle, and knowledge of our ancestors? If culture is a byproduct of how one lives, how are you living? Daily choices, conscious or not, deliberate or by chance, affect all outcomes. An empowered culture teaches history's lessons and nurtures innate gifts with remembering rituals, values grounded, confidence unbounded, woven with mission, purpose, and melody, despite obstacles, obstructions, and odds. My culture lives in me, empowered and courageous, bold and visionary, outrageously victorious. What about you? Hotep. I am Mwalimu Melody Michere Van Putten, and I am dropping the knowledge. Ashe.
Truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, order, reciprocity. 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 Justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, order, reciprocity. Truth, justice, righteousness.